And I think we benefit greatly from the relationship, including the sharing from the US, but the US benefits from our sharing too. In spite of changes in administration and priorities, the relationship between Canada and the United States in the national security area remains strong. We have a number of common interests that persist.
Hello, welcome. Today we're going to be looking at a rare news conference from Canada's National Intelligence Agency, CSIS. The rarity of this is special because this doesn't happen generally. I think this is happening now because the federal government wants to drive Canada in a new direction towards militarism, towards espionage, towards surveillance of Canadians. You need to justify it to the public. It's just propagating Canada's national security narrative. Let's jump into this video.
We have trusted partners in Canada and abroad, and together with them, we've acted decisively to keep Canadians safe.
We have trusted partners within Canada and abroad. I'm not going to name them. Take your best guess who our partners are.
Our intelligence professionals devote themselves to protecting the rights, freedoms, and safety of all in Canada. Even when they aren't aware of it, Canadians benefit greatly from their work. This year marks 40 years since the worst terrorist attack in Canadian history, the bombing of Air India Flight 182.
Okay, so right off the bat, the first thing he starts his speech with, after giving the preamble, the context, is the worst terrorist attack of Canadian history. I think we all agree terror attacks are bad, but also maybe not the number one threat facing Canada right now. Maybe we gotta look south of the border for that. What do you think?
The threat of violence, motivated by extreme religious, ideological, or political views, has changed significantly over the last 40 years, but it persists as one of Canada's most significant national security concerns. Today's violent extremists are motivated by an increasingly diverse, often personalized set of extreme beliefs, including xenophobia, accelerationism, nihilism, anti-Semitism, misogyny, extreme interpretations of religion, and more.
Anti-Semitism gets on the list, but Islamophobia doesn't, despite the Canadian state relying heavily on Islamophobia. Islamophobia doesn't make the list because Canada relies heavily on Islamophobia to maintain its terror watch list, which disproportionately targets Palestinian resistance. We gotta keep that narrative going, that Muslim people in Canada aren't actually facing that much of a threat. But there are IDF soldiers, probably war criminals, who have served in Gaza, who are not being investigated and are just roaming freely, entering the country freely, without any comment from our CSIS director. To me, if we have war criminals and genocidaires just walking around the country on our streets, that is the antithesis of safety.
But the societal supports for youth may help us catch radicalization early and prevent it. This is why CSIS joined the RCMP and our intelligence partners from the United Kingdom, the United States, Australia, and New Zealand in releasing a joint...
Why are our intelligence agencies working with the country that is actively threatening to invade and annex Canada? Why is this guy cooperating with the fascist Trump administration? Something to ask yourself.
In these examples, and in many others I can't discuss publicly, our counterterrorism teams have partnered with law enforcement to save lives. They worked hard, day and night, and I'm deeply proud of their dedication. I hope that Canadians feel safer because of their ongoing efforts and because of their regular success.
I, for one, don't feel safer with a mass surveillance state in cooperation with the fascist United States of America, while ignoring the war criminals that are walking freely in Canada. I don't feel safer with that. The fact that this guy feels safer with that might raise some alarm bells to you.
And when foreign states don't share our respect for these rights and feel threatened or embarrassed by the lawful activity of individuals in Canada, they sometimes resort to direct intimidation, influence, or reprisal.
I wonder which country is using intimidation and reprisal against Canada and Canadians the most right now. Is it Iran? Is it China? Or is it the big bully south of the border?
In the past, we've publicly discussed transnational repression by the People's Republic of China, India, and others.
In this, he's not going to ever identify the United States as a threat or pushing transnational repression. Now, I don't know what threats of annexation is, but if that's not transnational repression and aggression, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Today's geopolitical environment is more dynamic and unpredictable than at any other time in recent memory.
Oh, and who's causing that? Is it China? Is China the big disruptor? No, it's the United States of America run by the fascist Donald Trump. But again, he can't say that because he's in favor of that project.
As the threats shift and evolve, CSIS will continue to prioritize deliberately and ruthlessly and become comfortable with an extraordinary pace of change.
They're going to become comfortable with the extraordinary pace of change. Except for the fascist threatening to annex the country. That's the exception. Alright, now we're going to move on to the question and answer period.
Hi, Bob Fife from the Globe and Mail. Thank you for doing this. Director, can you, we're in fraught negotiations with the United States. There's a lot at stake. Does CSIS have to take any particular precautions because of concerns that the American intelligence agencies are listening in?
Thanks for the question. What I would say is that in spite of changes in administration and priorities, the relationship between Canada and the United States in the national security area remains strong. We have a number of common interests that persist. We both don't want terrorism, we both don't want espionage, we both don't want foreign interference, and so the working relationships stay very strong and joint. It's in Canada's best interest to continue those. We benefit greatly from intelligence and security sharing by the United States, and we contribute back. So I think
it's in Canada's best interest to continue working with the United States. We share a bunch of national security interests, like we don't want terrorism people. I love how he just outright dismisses the question and notion that America might be listening in to the Canadian negotiation team for the trade deal. Why not? Why not? I'll tell you why not. Because in his mind, he's saying we are allied with these guys and they love us, we love them, let's keep working together. We don't need to worry about espionage or foreign influence from the United States. This is called stupidity.
Judy Chern with CTV News. In your speech today, you gave very particular examples of Russian interference, Russian espionage. You passively referenced activities in regards to China and India. Was that a specific strategy in which, in light of the political situation we're in and how we're trying to, I guess, improve trade with those two nations?
Well, actually, I just think that Canada has said a lot about Russia and China and India in the last year. I would say the public inquiry was a testament to how much we can actually say about that. I would say that Canada is not going to be shy, or at least CSIS isn't going to be shy to come public with information when it's in Canada's national interest to do that and when it's in our national security interests. But today I gave examples that were new and things that Canadians hadn't heard before.
Reminder that his definition of national security interests and national interests is pro-America. He's openly saying he's pro-America, that their national interests align with America. Those national interests include the annexation of Canada.
You mentioned Canada and U.S. national security relationships still being strong and having common interests when it comes to things like counterterrorism. Is it still the case that we share value in administration and we can trust them when it comes to things like that, given their strikes on alleged drug boats, their designating of Antifa as a terror group, their deportations of students? Can we still trust them on those issues?
As I've said before, I think that we have a very significant overlap in our interests when it comes to national security.
So this reporter just asked about a bunch of fascist imperialist actions that America is taking currently. CSIS director is still saying we have significant overlap with the United States. Alarm bells, people. This guy is pro-fascist.
And I think we benefit greatly from the relationship, including the sharing from the U.S., but the U.S. benefits from our sharing too.
We benefit greatly from the sharing with the U.S., and the U.S. benefits greatly from us sharing too. Why are we helping the United States do their fascist imperial stuff? Why are we helping them? He's openly saying we're helping them, and they appreciate the help that we give them. All he's saying here is that Canadian intelligence services are pro-fascist and want to continue to help the American empire and fascist regime in charge.
So I think that the relationship does stay trusted. It's in Canada's best interests to maintain it and to keep it as active and as healthy as possible in a way that respects Canadian values and rights.
The relationship is still trusted? Who's this guy think this is for? The majority of Canadians already correctly identify the United States of America as the primary and largest threat to Canadian sovereignty and the continuation of Canadian and the upholding of Canadian rights. Let that sink in. The director of our National Security Intelligence Services is pro-America. Plain and simple. He openly says it. He admits it. He likes it. There's just no other answer.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Directeur. Ma question va être en français, mais feel free to respond in English if you're
Merci.
comfortable. Vous avez mentionné le besoin de prioriser. Et là, aujourd'hui, vous nous affichez tout ce qui s'est passé dans l'année sur plusieurs enjeux. Qu'est-ce qui vous inquiète le plus? Sur quoi vous voudriez prioriser vos forces maintenant?
That question in French is essentially asking, where do you want to prioritize your resources right now?
Oh, merci, c'est une bonne question. Un peu de mon message aujourd'hui est que c'est difficile à prioriser parce que toutes les priorités sont urgentes au même moment. Et c'est ça qui vraiment, that's what really keeps me up at night.
He says, oh, all priorities are very urgent, and that's what keeps me up at night. Except for one. Maybe Israel as well.
I would say. I mean, il y avait un moment, peut-être 10 ans ou 20 ans en passé, que le terrorisme était la priorité. Mais maintenant, c'est pas ça. C'est les autres pays.
He just said terrorism is not the main priority. Reckon back to when he started this speech. He started with the greatest terrorist attack in Canadian history, and we need to be fearful of terrorist attacks. But at the end of the speech, in French, he says, well, maybe that's not the real priority. The real priority to him is cracking down on pro-Palestine voices and ignoring the IOF genocidaires just roaming free in the country.
On intelligence sharing with U.S., has Canada or is Canada sharing any intelligence that will lead to the targeting of alleged drug boats in the Caribbean or elsewhere by the U.S.?
Great question. Very important because the U.S. is flagrantly violating international law and just random brown people out on the water in their boats. So the question is very good because it specifically asks, is Canada providing any intelligence that supports America's efforts in these war crimes?
We haven't made any general policy decisions that have changed our position with the United States, as I've said.
So our relationship with the United States, specifically in the Caribbean, has included the sharing of intelligence using Canadian resources to help America intercept and target boats in the Caribbean. So he's not denying the question at all there. He's just saying we haven't changed anything.
Earlier, we continue to benefit very greatly from our intelligence partnership with the U.S.
And there it is. This is a guy openly stating how we benefit from the war crimes and aiding in the war crimes of the United States. This is called stupid and probably illegal against international law. And it is a stupid idea to stay attached at the hip with this rotting fascist bully state.
Steve Chase with the Globe and Mail. Has CSIS devoted any effort to looking at the Alberta separatist movement and any interference by foreign countries, including the United States?
There is evidence that the Alberta separatist movement is an astroturfed and American-supported movement to make Alberta separate and join the United States of America.
Well, just to be super clear, our intelligence does prevent us from looking, our act restricts us to looking at a category of activities that is certainly above lawful advocacy or protest. So anything that is not defined in that national security threat sphere is not something we would look into.
Look, there's advocacy and protest when it's a natural evolution and people-driven politics. But whenever a foreign country is openly advocating and pushing for the annexation of a specific province, how is that not in national security interest? Hello? This is like the definition of in national security interests. But this guy outright denies it immediately, saying that that's fair game, it's protest, and we're not going to devote any more resources to it.
When it comes to the actions of other countries, I think I've said what I can say publicly today, but we're not looking into advocacy or protest or any kind of political debate.
They're not looking into it, in short. So when it's America breaking and destroying Canada's rule of law and national interests, it gets a pass, just like with Israel and how IOF people are allowed to freely enter and walk around this country while being war criminals.
Okay, because there were stories about them meeting with people in the Trump White House. My second question is, I want to follow up on my Globe colleague's question. Are you saying we have nothing to fear from American espionage or signals intelligence hacking in Canada?
What I'm saying is that it's in Canada's best interest and continues to be in our national interest to have a strong partnership with the United States that includes a strong security partnership and a strong intelligence partnership.
Okay.
Canada has correctly identified the United States as our greatest enemy. Go walk around the streets. Ask someone what they think of America, and then compare and contrast this with this guy's rhetoric, who is openly pro-America and says, we got nothing to worry about, people.
Thank you, everybody. That's the end of our scrum. Merci tout le monde. C'est la fin du scrum.
Oh boy, that was infuriating. On cooperation with the American security and intelligence agencies, we have to also include the critical modern context that they have been covering up Epstein and the Trump-Epstein connection. Trump was extremely close to Epstein. He was his best friend for a decade. And Jeffrey Epstein, in an email, said, I am the one who can take Donald down. Interesting. It seems like Trump might have done it. The American security intelligence apparatus includes the Trump-Epstein cover-up. A cover-up that Epstein is a CIA and Israeli intelligence asset. We know Epstein worked and was enabled by the CIA and Mossad. This is an Israeli-American-backed child of blackmail ring against some of the most wealthy elite people in the world. And that very likely includes Donald Trump, a core value of the American Intelligence Agency. According to this CSIS guy, perfectly aligns with Canada's national security interests and intelligence interests. Anyways, until next time, everyone, take care, love you all, bye-bye, peace and love.